What's up, fans? We suffered a little technical difficulty, but we back. What's up, Stacy?
What's up, baby? Let's rock and
You
roll.
still alert, man?
I'm fully alert.
Stay
always.
alert, stay alert, stay alive.
All right.
But yeah, like we were saying, you know, in the last before we had the technical difficulties, I think Floyd and Oscar, they got a great opportunity from a promotional standpoint to do boxing's a future mega fight. And that would add to their legacies also. They're two Hall of Fame fighters. And now they're in position to be Hall of Fame promoters. But it takes mega promotions, promoting big fights, mega boxing events. And they got all the ingredients to definitely have a mega event with Tank and Ryan. You agree?
I agree. I mean, it's right there. Like you said, they're Hall of Famers. They've been in big fights. They have the experience in big fights. They have the experience in negotiations. So if they take their time and promote it the right way, I think they can make this fight come off, and it would definitely add to their legacy, and it would definitely make them a top promoters. They are good promoters that make them really, really top promoters. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope they have success with it.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, Tank and Ryan gonna want top dollar for this fight, right?
Oh yeah, you're going to have to pay them. Ain't no doubt about that. I mean, it's Tank has already started talking about money, and like the OJ said, money. You know, so it's all about the paper. You can make any fight if you put the money out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if they keep doing what they're doing, I mean, they're probably two of the biggest real fighters. I'm not talking about no YouTubers, but they're probably two of the legit real boxers. They probably have the most followers in the game, right? Ryan and Tank.
Yes, sir. I think so. I know that the Tank draws a big crowd.
Yeah, Tank got like over 3 million Instagram followers, and Ryan, last I heard, he was like around 9 million Instagram followers.
That's big.
Yeah, so if you could translate that into ticket sales and putting asses in the seats, you know, Ryan, he has the big endorsement with Gatorade, and that's another angle that they could use to help promote the fight. Floyd and Tank's team get him a Gatorade deal and get a situation going like they could do a commercial with Ryan and Tank prior to the fight, like back in the day. 7-Up did with Sugar Ray and Duran. Remember that commercial?
I remember that. 7-Up did it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So they in a position. They in a real position for two guys that don't have the belts in that division. They are in a hell of a position to do a mega fight.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now, Devin Haney, he's considered the king of the division. He is the king of the division. He's got all the belts. But the difference is these guys, this is the boxing business. It's a business.
Absolutely.
And these dudes do a lot of business. And if they're promoters, promote, market, and position this whole situation right, it's a mega super fight generating a whole lot of revenue.
Yeah, I think that this is going back to what you just said. If they market it right and take care of the business part of boxing, then I think this is why they need more time. They need time on all different areas to market the fight, to get the fighters ready, the whole 9 yards. You can't do a fight like this in 4 or 5 months. This takes time for this. But there's so much revenue out there coming from so many different directions because of this fight. So they have to take their time. But everybody got to be ready and in sync. And I think this is what's going to happen. And I think they're going to do it. And I think it's going to come off.
Yeah, I think it'll be great for the sport, great for boxing. And like you said, the winner of that fight will become a megastar.
Megastar. And that's what we need, superstars in boxing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I get back to what I'm saying. Promoting is key. I mean, I think we've kind of lost our way when it comes to promoting. You know, you have to promote and market and create stars.
Absolutely.
The NBA have multiple stars. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know, LeBron James, he's got fans that's outside of basketball fans.
Absolutely.
You know, it's I mean, you have to cross all barriers. You have to bring in the casuals. You got to, I mean, and that's what corporate America wants when they give you athletes endorsement deals. They want crossover stars, guys that can cross over into all kind of markets to help sell the product. So if we can get us a couple of mega stars, I mean, who would you say is a superstar right now in the sport of boxing?
Alvarez, Tyson Fury.
Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo. Tyson Fury. I would say it's close. Terrence Crawford is close. And I would say Earl Spence is close. But they haven't reached that plateau with Alvarez yet, Tyson Fury.
And that's probably part of the reason why we having such a long, drawn-out negotiation between that Crawford and Spence fight getting made.
Absolutely.
Because you know they want to be paid. They want to be paid like megastars.
Yeah, you know, I want to say to the people out there who...
And they deserve every penny they get.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about 2 pound-for-pound fighters fighting each other. But at the same time, it still all results back to the economics, the revenue.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So go ahead. And
you know, a fight like that, that put 60,000 people in the seats at the stadium alone. So it's the revenue, it's about the money and everything. But I just want the fans to know one thing. You know, there's somebody out there saying, well, why is Stacy and Cunningham act like they know so much about promotion? I don't know if you all know it or not, but we done did it all. We done promoted professional fights, we managed, trained, and we've been in the ring and fought. So we can speak on a lot of different things. So, but like you said, there's mega fights to be made, and they will get made. It's just going to be about timing, good timing.
Yeah, man. So, and you still didn't answer my question. Mm-hmm. You didn't finish the question.
Okay.
Who are the mega stars in the sport of boxing?
Well, I think I named 2. Alvarez. I named
Tyson. And when I say mega star, they got to be a mega star. They got to put asses in seats, fill arenas, bring in casual fans.
Well, you got to be,
because you could be a hell of a fighter.
Yeah,
and you can't put asses in seats.
From that standpoint, you got to look at Tyson Fury. You got to look at Alvarez. You got to look at Anthony Joshua. Those guys can put the asses in the seats now. I mean, Tank them doing 16,000, 17,000 seats, selling seats at the arena. Garcia, but as far as 60,000 and 70,000, you got to really show something, and I think they're headed that way.
So, look like we got a caller. Caller, are you there?
I'm here. How you doing, guys?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. What you got on your mind, bro?
So check this out. I want to know, with you guys being all the way on the inside and being around the sports for so long, do you feel like the staff, the actual human beings employed at these promotional companies, have the real world current day experience to promote these boxers, especially the African American boxers? I'm gonna hang up and listen to your answer.
That's a good question.
Hell of a question.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of new fresh blood in a lot of the promotional companies now. I mean, you got Top Rank, they still got the infrastructure with a lot of boxing people that's staffing that company. You got PBC. There's some fresh blood over there, but they got some real boxing people over there that's running that operation pretty smoothly. But and I think Eddie Hearn's doing a good job coming from across the pond and trying to break off into the U.S. market. But to answer the caller's question, I mean, I think there's some angles that are not being tapped into in terms of when you market certain fighters, you know, urban fighters, black fighters, that they could use to help thrust the promotion and promote the fighter. That's not being utilized properly. So there's a lot of great ideas out there that it's just a matter of getting people to listen and use the ideas and be creative in terms of the promotional aspect of promoting these fights. What you think?
Well, I think that like you say, you know, you got to be able to bring in some new blood, young blood, but you got to have that old blood in there to mix it up.
Yeah, you got to have that old boxing blood.
You got to have that old boxing blood. Even as a trainer, as a trainer, you know, we was lucky to come around. We had top trainers. We had all the great trainers. We had teachers. So right now you don't have a lot of teachers. So it's the same thing with promotion. Even 50 Cent promotion. 50 Cent is a big name, finances. He has some of the fighters, but look, you guys are great in what you're trying to do, but you need to add some boxing people. This is not the music business, okay? This is not the music business. This boxing business consists of good business, but it also has a lot of street business that's involved. So a lot of street. So you got to be able to deal with the street. You got to deal with the non-street. There's a cutting edge in this boxing business. And everybody think, well, I'm gonna get in here right now and I'm gonna take over boxing. I got $50 million. Well, I tell you what, get in there in 2 years, you won't have $50 million if you don't get the right people. You got to have the right people in this boxing with the right mindset.
Mm-hmm. And I think about that, the question the caller just asked you, and I just thought that caller called and asked specifically about the African American boxers, what's needed. And obviously, as a fan watching and what's truly going on, you got a lot of you starting to see a lot of these cards that's basically dominated Hispanically based, and it's less and less African Americans on a lot of these cards. Would you agree?
Yeah, I will agree.
They may headline a card, but then the whole card is stacked with non-African Americans.
Well, I'll agree that most of those cards right now are lined up a lot of Hispanic fighters.
Do you think that has something to do with what I've been hearing is throughout the industry, and I'm sure you've heard the same thing, that the Hispanic fighters do better numbers, sell more tickets, do better viewership. These are the rumblings and the rumors and the things that the boxing insiders are saying, and it's showing because when you watch these cards, they're dominated with Hispanic fighters.
Well, there's a reason for all of this.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to.
There's a reason.
Call.
Okay, there's a reason for all of this. Okay, the African American fighter has gotten away from the grind, the dedication that it takes to be a professional fighter. They kind of got away from it. They kind of went to the YouTube. They become YouTubers. They don't want to come to the gym and train and put out like the Hispanic fighters is doing right now. The Hispanic fighters are very hungry. They're hungry. They're starving. They're hungry. So they come ready to fight. You don't see them getting tired. You don't see them out here in the media causing all kinds of problems. The African-American fighter right now, he's play fighting, he's play boxing. So this, you don't have a whole lot of them that's really get in there and fight 12 hard rounds and give it all they got. So the networks say, well, look, we got to go with the people who's entertainment. Boxing is entertainment. So you got to be in shape. You got to look good. You know, so this is one of the problems. Now you just can't point to the networks and say,
if we're gonna talk about it, we're gonna talk about it.
We're gonna talk about it. Let's call it like it is.
So you say these young brothers they boxers but trying to live a rapper lifestyle.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. You look at most of them.
Ain't no good.
They're trying to box, they're trying to rap. You cannot change boxing. Boxing has been this way long before we was born. Okay. You think that you can change what's happening inside of that ring. You can't do it. No. That's why we stay old fashioned and stick to the game.
Ain't gonna do it. Ain't gonna do it.
It ain't gonna happen.
When that bell go ding, you got to box.
Absolutely.
And you better be prepared to fight. Better be prepared to fight all day and night.
Absolutely. We had fighters, young fighters lately, the last year or so, coming to the gym and said, well, I think that Coach Cunningham and Coach Stacy, I think they work too hard. They work us too hard. We were overtrained. Customata once told Mike Tyson, there's no such thing as overtraining. You train hard, but you got to train smart. That's what we do. We train hard and we train smart. We know when to get up off the gas. We know when to let you rest. We know all of this, but you don't want to. You want to do it your way. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Well, you preaching now, bro. You preaching.
I'm telling the truth.
You preaching. But all in to be fair, we do have some good young African-American fighters that are focused and dedicated.
Yes.
And ready to go out and training, prepared to be mean, lean fighting machines, and just looking for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I think in terms of, I think people are just looking for great fights. I don't think it have anything to do with the, you know, the nationality or the Hispanic or this or that, this, that, and that. I think people just want to see great fights. But what you are saying, in order to go out and perform like a great fighter and put on a great performance, you have to be prepared. You have to train that way. You have to live a fighter's life.
You got to live their life. You got to live, you know, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it.
And
now.
A lot of our kids are getting caught up in our communities on the flash and dash, the you know, the social media, the hip hop situation in the industry, and they want to live that life, but you can't live that life and get in that ring and be a super fighter.
Absolutely. You know, one of the
boxing, I was always told boxing, my old trainer used to tell me, boxing is like a jealous lover. Boxing wants the majority of your time, the majority of your attention.
That's right.
And if boxing don't get that from you, boxing gonna turn on you.
You know, I was in training camp with my heavyweight, Trevor Bryant, a couple of months ago, and Larry Holmes was in there with us, giving us a few pointers and things. And Larry said that after each one of his fights, he would only leave the gym for 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, and he'd tell his best friends that, look, let's go train. So we just finished fighting, and Larry would say, you want me to keep my belt? Then we got to get back in the gym and we got to go to work. That attitude is right there, and this is why he was such a great fighter. And he held the title for 8 years. But a lot of these guys don't want to train. Now, I will say this. There's one fighter that I've been watching, a young man I've been watching lately, and that's your kid, Amon Williams. A lot of people say, what's wrong with this kid? There's nothing wrong with this kid. This kid is dedicated 100% in his boxing business, and that's all he cares about. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you face him, you're going to have some problem with that boy. I can tell you that right now because he lives the game. So you got to live the game to stay on top of the game.
Yeah, he definitely dedicated to the game. That's for sure.
He's dedicated to the game.
He ain't got nothing on his mind but boxing, training, and fighting.
That's all.
And you know, He's a fan-friendly fighter, and Eddie Hearn is starting to show him a lot of attention.
A lot of attention.
And putting him in good spots.
Absolutely.
And giving him an opportunity to be a star. So
well, he worked hard to get there.
Yeah, well, he's still working.
He's still working.
It's not a finished product.
No, it ain't a finished product.
He's still working. He got ways to go.
Yeah.
So, but that's what you got to do.
That's right.
Absolutely. They talk about when I think about a lot of these young potential stars, like I hear them talk about Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and Tank. They always mention them three together.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see them three, I break them down in categories. They both have a lot of potential. They got a lot of potential to be great. But I look at Shakur and I see out of the three, I look at Shakur and I see the most naturally gifted one out of the three.
Mm-hmm.
He's just the most naturally talented, the one that's just blessed with natural gifts. I would say it's Shakur. And then I get to Tank. And I see Tank as, out of those three, I think Tank is the more well-rounded out of the three in terms of boxing skill and ability and one-punch knockout power. So he's like total package. And then when I get to Devin, I see Devin may not be as naturally gifted as a Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
He may not have that one hitter quitter knockout power as Tank. But Devin is everything that you saying these fighters got to be.
That's right.
And that's totally dedicated to his craft, totally dedicated to the sport of boxing. He's always in the gym. He's always working on his craft. He's always trying to develop and get better. And at the end of the day, a young man like that could be the last man standing out of everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He showed you that his last fight. Absolutely. He's dedicated. God gonna bless him. Mm-hmm. That's all it is to it. You get what you work for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll get on another topic here. Your former protege, who you spent 10, 11, 12 years with, he made news last week. And it was deep.
We're all gonna die one day, of course. Then when I look in the mirror, I see those little spots on my face, and I said, wow, man, that's my expiration date is coming close really soon.
What you think about that, man?
Well, that's Tyson. That's Mike Tyson. For Mike to say something like that, it's nothing new to me, and it's nothing out of the ordinary. But for mainstream society, it's a little bit out there. But I understand where he's coming from, and I understand him, and I've heard him say a lot of different things. So, but
damn, hold on, Stacey. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You say a man make a statement like that, and you say it's nothing new to you?
No, not coming from him. No, it's not.
Wow.
It's not. It's the question is, does he really believe what he's saying? I heard what he said, but
he's basically saying that he don't have too much longer to he's basically saying he's gonna die real soon.
Well, I done heard that before coming from him. I mean, that right there is like I say, here's a guy that's different. He's different from most people. He's mentally different from most people. His mind is in a whole different level and a different zone.
I believe that.
And in a whole different zone. And it's hard to deal. Now, you ask a question, you say, well, you made a statement. You said, well, you've been there for 10 years. How did you last longer than anybody else, Stacey? Because I understood his mindset. The man had 9 different personalities, okay? So I stayed there longer because I studied all different 9 personalities. So when he come to me, or come to other people with something like this, I understand where he's coming from. It's just like when he's saying he's going to eat Lennox Lewis' children and go eat your heart out. I understand at the time he was thinking himself was Napoleon. See, his whole mindset is totally different. And this is something that he inherited from I would say from the universe. This is why he was such a great athlete.
He inherited from the universe.
Yeah, he's inherited. He's God sent. He's a God sent person. He's an honest, down to earth, God sent person. So he said he looked in his face. He saw some spots in his face. Well, you know, all this is something that might believe in controversy.
So the rest of us ain't God sent.
We might be God sent, but God didn't send us down the same path that he brought Mike Tyson here, because there ain't but one Mike Tyson. That's all that is to it. You know, ain't but one man.
I agree with that.
There ain't but one Mike Tyson. You can believe that. Now it takes a lot of time to understand him. I understand him. I heard him say things like, you know, one of my fighters used to live with me by the name of Ricky Womack, lived with me, you know, God bless his soul, you know, he passed away a few years ago. He and Mike was real tight. And Ricky was incarcerated when he got out. Mike gave him, I ain't gonna tell you how many K's he gave him. He gave him shoes and all that stuff. They was very good friends. So Mickey took his own life. Not Mickey, but Ricky took his own life.
I remember Ricky Womack.
Okay.
That's Ricky Womack used to give Holyfield hell in the amateurs.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's who Holyfield had to get past Ricky to get to make the Olympic team.
Yeah. And Ricky was the alternate. He got a twin brother named Mickey. Mickey and Ricky both lived with me, and Terry and Jerry. His other twin brothers. So the whole family. But anyway, when Ricky passed, I was in the gym, and like I said, Mike is real tight. So I was wrapping his hand, and you have to expect the unexpected when you say certain things to Mike. So I asked him, I said, Mike, it sure was a sad thing that Ricky took his own life. And Mike looked at me and said, he did the right thing. So now I didn't look at that as, okay, where is he coming from with this? And basically what he's saying is his life was so full of evilness from the outside, and so much going on in his life, maybe he's rest in peace now. That's basically what he was saying. But the way he said it, the average person would have been shocked. But me understanding him, this is what he meant. You know, it's relief for him. So you know, when he said things like that, I mean, it doesn't. I don't go all off and say, well, oh, man, you think he's thinking about passing him? No. This man loved himself. Believe me, he loved himself. Why do you think he's running and jogging and staying in shape and this type of thing? So he know he got a long life. He got a long life.
So he just basically, you saying he just saying stuff to get headlines.
Well, he liked being controversial. Now he's one of the most controversial person in the world, and you can believe that. And everybody love him.
Okay. All right.
And I love him.
Yeah, because he got the headlines with that one. I mean, that was all over the place last week.
Yeah. Well, that's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah. So with that being said, and based off what you just explained, how did you deal with that on a regular basis, training a guy that mind goes from here to there and different multiple personalities? And how did you deal with that on a regular basis?
Because it was something that I wanted. It was something that was handed through me to me through the gods, and I knew that I could handle it and I could deal with it. And so what I did was, instead of sitting there trying to change this person and change his mindset, I sit there and I studied him every day. I studied all his fight film. I listened to all his conversations. Now, a lot of things, when you wrap a fighter's hand, you get a chance to, he tell you a lot of personal stuff. So a lot of things he would say to me and tell me that most people didn't know anything about. You know, I've heard him say recently on the internet, I heard him say something about he didn't care anything about money. I never loved money. I don't care about money. I heard him say that too on the last week on the Pivot podcast. He told them guys, they asked him, how did you go through? How much did you make, Mike? Oh, I made $450 million.
And you went through all of that? Yeah, every dime of it.
Right. He said he didn't care anything about money. All right. Now, I'll give you a little insight. I'm wrapping his hand. Okay. This is years ago. I'm wrapping his hand. And he say, you know what? So what? I don't care anything about money. I don't care nothing about money. I don't care anything about material things. I don't care anything about it. Then he say, you know why? I said, why is that, Mike? He say, well, because my mother told me that I would never amount to anything. And she passed away before I become heavyweight champion of the world. Therefore, I don't care anything about any material thing. I said, hold it. I said, Mike, she's looking down on you. He said, you think so? I said, yes, she's looking down on you. You're a blessed child. So there's a lot of things that goes on. He had a lot of demons at that time. A lot of things going on. You have to understand one thing, man. You have to understand one thing.
So he didn't care about money because of what now?
Because his mother passed away. His mother told him he would never amount to anything in life. And he become heavyweight champion of the world. I said, well, Mike, she's looking down on you. She said, you think so? I said, yes. You're a blessed child. You see, there's a lot of things that people don't understand. There's a lot of things going on with Mike Tyson that most people can't comprehend. The man is super intelligent.
Oh, for sure.
This is what most people don't know.
But he say a lot of highly intellectual stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I seen him sit down with John F. Kennedy Jr. at the house and was talking about the Kennedy family. Okay, Mike went so far back in history on the Kennedy family. John F. Jr. said, you know more about my people than I do. You know more about my family than I do. Yeah, he go all the way back. Very, very intelligent and a very generous person, but very insecure. He's a very insecure person. How can a beast like that, the GOAT, be insecure? Well, he is very insecure, but he's getting older. He's maturing. So these type of outbursts they don't move me. But I'm glad that I can explain it, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can imagine some of the things you went through training, Mike, and heard and seen, and I mean,
you go through a lot, but you're going through a lot on a different level, not just a athlete, a fighter level, and skill wise. It's a psychological thing. And when we departed, I told myself, okay, this ride is over with, but you're going to need some psychological help. That's what I told myself. And so what I did was I looked up Dr. Phil, not the Dr. Phil, but the Dr. Phil in Las Vegas. And I told him what the situation was. I said, Mike is going his way. I'm going mine. But I want to make sure that I'm moving to Florida. I want to make sure that my mind is right. Mm-hmm. And I explained it to him. I said, look, I don't want to get caught up in looking for another Mike Tyson because I know it'll never happen. Okay. I'll never get that ride that high again. So I just want to make sure I'm on the right track. So he told me, he said, you're on the right track because you know that you'll never get there again. I said, no, I won't get that high. And I'm not looking for that. Now, there are some guys that was with us. Okay. They're still looking for that and they lost. Mm-hmm. Looking for that.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine. Mm-hmm. I can imagine. And you know, people don't understand being a trainer and training elite fighters, that a trainer has to be a father figure, a coach, a psychologist.
Absolutely.
Everything, a friend, everything.
Everything.
And each individual situation is different.
That's right. Oh my God.
No, you can't train this fighter the exact same way that you train this guy.
Absolutely.
You can't try to impose this style on this fighter the same way you impose what you working with this guy's skill set on and trying to get him to enhance this skill set this particular way. You have to switch it up with each individual guy because each individual have different strengths,
Absolutely.
have different talents.
Absolutely.
So that's what make a elite trainer elite, being able to recognize and understand this individual, this is what he needs. This individual needs that. You got a lot of trainers that'll try to train all his guys the same style, the same way. It don't work.
It doesn't work.
You know, and you got to deal with them different.
You have to deal with them.
You got to deal with this personality this way. You got to deal with that personality. That, I mean, this guy here, you might have to push him a little harder than you got to push this guy. And you got to understand all this.
You got to understand. And that was one of the benefits of working with Mike so long. Because like I say, the man got about 9 different personalities. So I learned all those personalities and those traits. So when I see another fighter come up with one of those personalities, I know exactly, okay, this is where you coming from. But like you said, every fighter is different. I remember when I was working with Michael Moore, for Emmanuel Stewart at Crunk, when I was training and working with Michael Moore didn't believe in defense. He would get hit, blood running down his face with his headgear on. He'd go in the shower, and in the shower with the shower running and blood running down, all his gloves on. And so one day he did the same thing. And so I told him, man, I said, man, he's in there with his headgear on. He said, well, he'll come out. So he came out, and he had a knife, and he was cutting his legs with a knife. So I went and told Emmanuel, I said, Emmanuel, he's cutting his legs with a knife. So Emmanuel said, go take it from him. I said, hell no, I ain't. I'm not gonna go in. You go in there and take it, you know. But that was the deal, you know. So they all got good, but he was a hell of a fighter. He's a hell of a fighter. So if you can't deal with these guys, like a Gerald McCullough and all these guys that they couldn't, I always had guys like Tyson, Gerald McCullough, Michael Moore, all these guys. If you can't deal with those guys, now, one of the greatest minds of boxing, Cus D'Amato. I've always said that because Cus D'Amato took a young boy like Mike Tyson and turned him into a monster fighter. He saw it. He could see it in him. Now, when I started working with Mike, I started watching him close. I said, wait a minute. This kid is not what I thought he was. He's not what most people think he is, his style. I said, we think he fighting like Joe Frazier, coming us. That ain't what he's doing. This boy is very technical. And finally, one day, I figured it out. I kept watching him. He told me, he said, you know, Stacy, wrap his hand again. He said, Cus told me I could never beat Joe Louis. I said, yeah? I said, Cus told you that? He said, yeah. And he said that Jack Blackburn was the greatest trainer ever lived. That was Joe Louis's trainer. When he told me that, it all come to me. I said, oh, hell. Mike got the same skill set that Joe Louis has, but what Cus did, because of his height and power, he switched them around. He has the same technical skills. I said, uh-oh, I got him now. I know what it was. Cus switched them around. That was a genius. Cus was a genius. Nobody else could have done that. You know. But anyway, that's it's a hell of a mind thing. We do a lot of stuff. Angelo Dundee told me once, he said, Stacy, they don't know what we go through, dude. That's no.
No, I don't know.
No, they don't know. It's hard.
No, they don't.
But we love it though.
They don't understand it. I mean, and it's not easy. Everybody wanna get to the mountaintop. Everybody don't want to pay the dues to get there.
Yeah, I've been doing this 40-some years, almost 50 years consecutive. You know, just consistent doing it every day, and everybody, well, you crazy? Why do you do it? But I love it. And then it all has to do where I come from. It has a lot to do with that. You know, most of us in fighters, we all cut from the same piece of cloth. We're from broken home, broken dreams, and broken promises. That's what we made of. That's our DNA.
Yeah.
So we can relate. You know, we all from the ghetto, and it was raised on biscuits and syrups and sorghums and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's what we had to eat. So you know, so we're blessed, and I was blessed to be with a good, great champion like Mike Tyson, a good person, and he's a great humanitarian.
Yeah, but then you know, Tyson ain't the only champion you had. Now you had Tony Tucker. You run off a list of them names. Champions you done produced, man.
Tony Tucker was a great fighter, great heavyweight. If you want to get back to Tank Davis and want to get back to Ryan Garcia and all, this is what happened to Tony. Tony fought Tyson too soon. They both of them was champions, but they put them in the ring together too soon. Tony was only 28 years old. Tyson was young, and they put them together. They didn't build that fight. They didn't build that championship fight like what we were talking about doing. You know, I think it was a mistake, but it happened. But yeah, Tony Tucker, and one of my favorite fighters is Ricardo Marioga. A lot of people say, well, he's crazy. But you got to be able to relate to Marioga like to drink beer. He smokes cigarettes. So when they called me from Vegas to come to work with him, I went and watched them train. So Don said, come over to the house. I went up to the house. He said, what do you think, Stacy? Can he beat Vern Forrest? Vern Forrest and Roy Jones was sharing the title as pound for pound the best in the world at that time. I told Don, I said, Vern Forrest cannot beat this boy. I said, he can't beat this boy. So I told Marioga, I said, listen, champ, I had an interpreter. We got to make a deal. What's the deal? I say, Monday through Friday, I don't want you smoking and I don't want you drinking, okay? But on a Saturday, I'm gonna get you a case of beer and a pack of cigarettes, and you sit behind the camp and you drink your beer and you smoke.
Yeah, that shit wouldn't have worked with me, brother.
So when Don heard about it, he said, Stacy, we're trying to get the boy straightened out, and they tell me you got to hold it. Let me explain something to you about the human mind, sir. He's going to do it anyway. So you may as well manage it. So it was a form of management. Okay. If you want to get something out of it, he gonna manage it, because I know that he gonna do it anyway. So let's manage it. And he did it. He hugged and kissed me. Oh, thank you, Pappy.
So when y'all knocked off Vernon Forrest twice in a row,
right?
Y'all wanted to complete and become undisputed. So y'all thought y'all was just gonna come snatch that belt
from Corey,
from us.
But yeah, right, we're gonna come snatch the belt. I knew going into the fight, because of the way they structured it, that they want Marioga to box. And
Yeah,
I told,
but
you can't outbox no Corey Spinks.
Yeah, but when Don came to me with the fight,
yeah,
as soon as we won the IBF title, and y'all took out Vernon Forrest in their rematch, Don came straight to me with the Mayorga fight.
Yeah.
Said, we want to do an undisputed welterweight title fight with you and Mayorga. I told Corey, I said, yeah, they think you can't punch, and this boy is knocking out folks. So they think they just gonna come snatch this title, and they're gonna go make a big star out of this, drinking beer, smoking, HBO loving. And I told Don, get the money right and let's do it. He got the money right, and we did it.
Right. But
I knew that dude, he didn't stand a chance of beating Corey. Only chance he stood was trying to hit Corey with a big punch.
Well,
Corey, at that time, Corey was on top of his game, and you couldn't hit him when he was on point. I take him to camp for 10, 11 weeks, bring him out of camp. You ain't gonna hit him with a bag of rice.
Okay, then what was the strategy? Stacy, what was the strategy? Everything you just said, I already knew. I knew that Corey was a master boxer. I knew Corey was slick. I knew Corey was pound for pound. To tell you something, I knew what we was up against. All right. Now, how you gonna beat him, Stacy? How y'all gonna beat Corey? Ain't but one way. You got one chance. You got to stay on top of him and don't let him breathe for the entire fight. Now, if you can't do that, you got a problem. And he tried to box and couldn't do that. So Corey's too smart for him. He's too slick. So I understand that. I already knew that. But the only thing we had, and y'all making a move, and Corey boxing, and Marioga trying to box, and I said, if you can't suck his titty, we ain't got nothing coming, brother.
Yeah, man. He boxed circles around.
Yeah.
And you throwing all them big old hard wide punches. You ain't gonna hit Corey with none of that.
Yeah,
But Emmanuel Stewart told me that he told Don King, don't make that fight.
I was there.
Mayorga is not going to beat Corey Spinks.
I was there when he told Don.
So did he actually say that?
Yeah, he said it. He told him, said, no, I don't think it can happen. Now,
he said something about, he was telling me something about his computer printout.
Yeah, and I said with the computer printout in my mind saying that he cannot win that fight. It's a bad fight for him. It's a bad fight.
Oh, you sound just like Emmanuel Stewart.
Come on. It's my mentor. We come together. Now listen, check this out though. Check this out. There's two sides to all of this stuff. And I learned this through the Mike Tyson Holyfield first fight. Okay. When I asked the managers to postpone the fight, and I told them that Mike Tyson wasn't ready. I said, Mike is not ready. John Bray out of Los Angeles hit him with the right hand, and Mike was all over the ring. In 2 rounds, he all over the ring, sparring. He's not ready. So the manager say, and Dave Jacobs, who brought up Sugar Ray Leonard, said, Stacy, it's late over in the evening. So I told the manager, I said, this is what you call a wake-up call. Your fighter ain't ready. We need 4 more weeks. But when he went back and told Don came back and said, look, You take care of the training and let me do the promotion and get him to the ring. That's what you do. Now, being a trainer like you know how we think. Win, fighting, win. I wasn't thinking about the business part of it. You're going to ask me to postpone a $300 or $400 million fight? You get back in there and train the fighter.
Yeah,
So
you get that fighter to the ring.
yeah. So I later on, I explained it to Holyfield. I said, hey man, I tried to get it. I said, I tried to do it to postpone the fight. And he said, well, no. I said, no, I ain't making no excuse. Ain't no excuse because you beat a broken Mike Tyson, basically. You ain't beat the 20-year-old Mike Tyson. Now, let's get it straight. All right. All this defeat shit come later. You ain't beat no 20-year-old Mike Tyson. So let's go down, but you won. And that's great. And Holyfield's a great fighter. So it's a lot. We got, you say, Coach, we go through a lot. You know?
So tell me this. Out of the new generation of fighters, who do you see that's got that ability and a lot of that old school mentality fighter in them?
Who do I see? Gervonta Davis. That's who I see. I think he can dominate. I think he can dominate and become a great fighter. Now, that's what you see. What do Davis see? What do Davis want to do? Does he want to be that great fighter?
Yeah, because
for 10 or 15 years.
Because
You train him, you know.
For a fact, he's got all the ability.
Right.
He's kind of like a throwback fighter.
Yeah.
You know, being in the gym training with him, he's got that throwback mentality. But it's gonna come down to, like you said, paying the price. It's a price you gotta pay for greatness.
It's a price.
It's a price.
It's a big price.
You know,
That's
so I mean, if he's willing to pay that price, I mean, sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit.
If he's willing to pay that price, sky's the limit. He's one of those guys that I see that, like you said, he's got the potential to be one of those throwback great fighters.
Yeah.
You know, and he's entertaining. See, and that's like we were talking about in terms of being an attraction.
Right.
People don't want to sit on the couch and watch a 12-round snooze fest.
No.
You know, and I mean, especially when you got the UFC going on right now, where these dudes is knocking each other out, elbowing, kicking, and kneeing, and blood everywhere. You know, they want to see carnage.
That's what they want to see.
So now we as trainers have to have the ability to prepare our guys to be able to get in and get off punishment and get out without getting got.
Absolutely.
And he has all the ability to be one of those guys.
He has all the ability. He still need a little help. He still need a little help on his defense. I'm watching real close. Defense and a little slickness and stuff like that to get in and get out. Stuff that you was teaching him. He need that. But overall, this kid got everything. This kid can punch. He got one punch power. He'll knock you out, and people love to see that. And when they come to watch him fight, that's what they come to see.
But out of the young generation of guys that I'm watching now, I think Earl Spence gives me that. When I watch Earl fight, I see throwback fighter.
Yeah. You know, I love Earl Spence.
Yeah, I see throwback fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got good solid skills, good strong jab. He's got the mindset of where he basically trying to punish you, even though he's got good skills, good boxing skills.
Yeah.
But his mentality is to punish and hurt something.
They punish and they hurt you.
You know, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Oh,
one of the greatest, probably the greatest fighter ever to live.
Right.
Had fast hands, good footwork, balance, pivot, angles, distance, range, everything perfect. But Sugar Ray, and they called him Sugar for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
Because he did it so sweet You know, you had to call him Sugar.
You had to call him Sugar.
But on the end of that sweetness, pow, he was putting knockout power on. He was closing it out with knockouts.
Absolutely.
He put a beautiful fast combination together. On the end of that speed, he used that speed to hide that pow at the end of it.
You know, I would.
That's what I'm looking for in a lot of these young guys coming up.
Well, I tell you what.
To really hone in on their craft and learn how to be a great fighter.
You know,
because if you don't do that, this sport is a vicious sport. And if you ain't gonna be one of the best, what they gonna do to you, Stacy? If you ain't training to be one of the best,
they're gonna turn you over.
They're gonna use you up,
throw you away. That's what's gonna happen.
Eat you up, and spit you out.
Absolutely. Now I'm gonna elaborate on a little bit of the Sugar Ray Robinson thing, and you know, I've always said the fight is in the mind. You got to be technically and physically together because a human being is made of energy and motion. Okay. Ray Robinson, energy and motion came from the gods. You have to understand that. You have to understand the psychological part of that. Ray Robinson was in a class all to himself. Okay. All these other great fighters was here. Ray Robinson was there. He was in the class all to himself. Now, his power came from the gods. You have to understand that. It wasn't something that he super developed in the gym, although he went through his work, but it's from the God. It's a mindset. Now I'm gonna tell you why. Ray Robinson had a premonition. The premonition was, I don't want to fight this weekend. The premonition showed me where I can kill a man at any time I want to in the ring. That's what the premonition was in his dream. So when he fought, he was starting not to fight, but when he fought, what did he do? He killed the man. Okay. After that fight, Sugar Ray Robinson knew by that premonition that I can destroy and actually kill a man in the ring whenever I wanted to. Therefore, he pulled his punches. All the guys, he pulled his punches.
Start pulling them punches, you're in trouble now.
But that's how great he was. He pulled his punches to save a life.
Yeah, but he ain't as effective as he could be pulling on them punches.
But that's what it came down to.
Yeah.
And when he danced and he worked out to Miles Davis.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Ray Robinson was something else.
Yeah, but we got a few young guys that really could take this thing. I mean, and get to that superstar status.
Sure.
And that's what we need. That's what the sports need.
You named them.
This sport needs stars.
Yeah. Superstars, stars.
Yeah, I mean, Canelo is the biggest attraction in boxing right now, but I still don't consider him as a total superstar. I mean, he's the biggest attraction, but I mean, he still is predominantly Mexican fan base. You know, yeah, everybody watches Canelo, this, that, and the other, but he's getting better because he's starting to speak English. Okay. So that'll help him cross over to that superstar.
Superstar,
yeah. So, but right now the sport is hurting for that next superstar.
We got the. You know, I'm gonna tell you a fight I used to love, still like to love, the White fight that had it all too, and that's Tyson Fury. Oh my God, I love him. You remember the first fight with Wilder and all of them, and I told you, I said I'm going with Tyson Fury.
Yeah, you
sure what, Stacey? I said, got too much of that.
You sure told me that.
So when I talked with him, he was down here at the 5th Street. I talked to him. I say, where did you get that shake and bake from? You ain't no black fighter. You got too much rhythm. Where you get all that shake and bake from? Then he said, well, I'm not going to tell you. Then I researched it. He got it from Joe Walcott.
Jersey Joe?
Yeah, he got it from Jersey Joe. That shake and bake. Wow. I said, ooh, he was a dangerous boy. But anyway, we're going on. Like you said, Devin Haney and a few other guys, we're going to see, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of young guys that's got a lot of potential. You got a lot of great fighters, but being a great fighter and having the star power to go with it, that's when you get into that superstar. That being able to do pay-per-view records and all that and sell out, put asses in seats, and that's what we need. That's what the sport need.
Tank got to have that competitive competition too. You got to step up there and fight the best.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be the best, you got to fight the best.
Yeah. You know, my man, AB, he's coming up. He's coming down the pipe. He'll be right down here in South Florida in 3 weeks.
AB.
On his comeback. And he's been in camp for, I think he's been in Colorado since March or April. So he should be ready, Stacey.
Well, he's been out there a long time. He said, you know,
he had the potential to be that next superstar.
Be that next superstar. I love to watch him fight.
Oh my God, man.
He had speed.
He had the power, the speed, personality, and was on his way to the moon.
Well, you know, they told him he gonna replace Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
That's what they had said.
Yeah. But it ain't over. It ain't over.
It's not over.
Still, all he got to do is get it right. Get it right. Get everything on point. Come back. This is a nice fight for him. Omar Figueroa.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect opponent for him. He's going to be right there in front of AB. All AB got to do is let his hands go.
Right.
The boy going to be right there for everything AB cut loose.
Absolutely. I'll be right there ringside.
Yeah, I think you think it's a great fight for him?
Yeah. Very good fight. Very good comeback fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, got the win and he's right back in it.
He got some leverage.
Got some leverage.
Take care of business. He right back in the ball game.
Absolutely.
You know, my guy, Erickson Lubin.
Oh yeah.
He finishing up his rehab on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I tell him every day, all you gotta do is get your shoulder right, get back in the gym. You know, it didn't turn out the way we wanted it.
Right.
I mean, but you fought a hell of a fighter, and you in there with one arm.
That's right.
And you did what you could, and you still a fan-friendly fight, and you know, fighter of the year candidate, even though that wasn't the strategy and the game plan, but he had to make an adjustment. He'll be right back in the mix.
Hey.
26 years old, he'll be right back in the mix. Just, you know, get his shoulder, get your health and your shoulder back on point, get back in the gym, he'll be right back in the mix.
You know, listen, the boy showed me a whole lot in that fight. Man, I got hard, okay? I can't do what I want to do, but I'm not gonna sit on the stool and cry about it. I'm gonna fight. I'm going out. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna get you out of there. You know, he had that Evander Holyfield mentality. Evander Holyfield told me, he said, look, he said, this is where I think, Stacey. This is where I used to think. I said, how's that, Evander? He said, when I go in the ring, my mindset is, I'm gonna kill you before you kill me. I'm gonna kill you first. And that was his mind, and that's the way he fought. Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
We got another caller, Stacey. Caller, you there?
Yeah. What up, Coach? It's H Money. What's good?
H Money, what's up, nephew?
What's good, Coach? Man, I'm loving the show, man. It's the hottest new show on YouTube, the best podcast in the game. I'm here every Sunday, man, and I gotta tune in. Coach.
I appreciate you. Appreciate the support, man. What you got on your mind today, man? You know, we you know, me and Stacey, we can get in some real deep discussions when it comes to this fight game. So I know how you are. You got a lot on your mind. We've been talking about your boy, Devin Haney. So come on with it, bro. Come on with it.
Yeah, Coach, I want to see what you think about, you know, some of these promoters and fighters. Now they saying the belts don't matter. You know, as soon as Devin Haney wins the undisputed championship, what's your thoughts on that? Now people are pushing this narrative that the belts don't matter.
Well, first of all, the belts do matter. And, you know, Devin went over there and took care of business, did what he had to do. And now he's the man in the division. He's undisputed champion. He's the man. Now, but there's two folds to this, because He went over, took care of business, and became undisputed. Now, the boxing business comes into effect. It ain't just, these guys can do whatever they want to do. They may go on these channels and say this, that, and the third, but there's a lot of different things from a business perspective and a business standpoint that prevents some things from happening. For instance, now, I think Devin, from a contractual standpoint, has to do the rematch with Kambosos. That was part of the whole deal of him getting the opportunity, the shot at the undisputed championship. Am I right?
Yeah, you right about that.
So I mean, if he has obligations, then he's got to go take care of that. And if I'm him, you go take care of what you got to take care of, because right now he ain't got to chase nobody because he's undisputed. So if he got a contractual obligation, then he got to go take care of that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It just
So with that being said, I wouldn't even pay attention to somebody that's talking about the belts don't matter. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Devin Haney, I'll go take care of my business and clean up the business that I'm obligated to take care of, and the rest gonna take care of itself, because he the undisputed king of the division.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of guys at 135 that I would like to see Devin Haney fight. I would love to see a fight between Devin Haney and Tank Davis. I think that's one of the biggest fights in boxing. Devin Haney said he wants that fight. I hear Tank Davis, he's talking about fighting Ryan Garcia. What you think is next for Tank? You think Tank and Ryan Garcia can actually happen?
I mean, it can happen. If Oscar and Floyd do what it takes to make it happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't see that fight happening next. But I mean, it could happen, but I don't see it happening. From a business standpoint, it's not ready.
Okay, I got you, because that's what they've been talking about. Floyd Mayweather, he told Ryan Garcia that the fight could happen at 135. Ryan Garcia was telling Tank to come up to 140. So, I'm just trying to see, what's going to be the next big fight in boxing. We got another fight, Crawford and Earl Spence Jr. Who do you favor in that fight? Both of y'all, Coach Kev and Stacy.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I go back and forth with that fight, so I'm tired of going back and forth. I ain't picking no winner in Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence. Because 1 minute I see where Bud could take advantage of some things and come out on top. Next second, I see where Earl can take advantage of some things and come out on top. So, I mean, it's a 50-50 fight. That's why the fight needs to happen. I'm interested to see what the odds makers, who's the favorite with Vegas. And it just needs to happen, man. I mean, that fight needs to happen. What you think, Stacey?
Well, like I said before, it's a very interesting fight. I can't pick the fight. I can't pick. I can sit here and say, well, for the last 3 rounds, if Bud can stay there and keep punching and move good and keep boxing, he can win the final decision. But I don't know if he can be able to move like that the last 3 rounds against Spence. So it's a hard fight to pick. It's a very hard fight to pick. There's one other thing I want to say. I want to get back to this belt situation where these guys, you said, does the belt really matter? The belt, I talked to Riddick Bowe, and I told Riddick Bowe, when you threw that WBC belt in that garbage can, it was a shame. It was a disgrace. It was a disgrace for all the great fighters who come before you, like Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, Rocket Marciano, Jack Dempsey. All those guys cherished that belt. It was all about the belt. So the belt does matter. The belt does matter to me. I think it's a respect. I think it's very disrespectful. I understand financially you don't want to pay the site fees and this type of thing. I mean, the sanction fees. but I think you should have enough respect to say, I'm not going to do this because of Ray Robinson and what the belt meant. It was our only way that we could come up and get pulled up by our bootstrap was that particular belt. So I'm torn between that, but I can't stop it. Things has changed, but that's the way I really feel. Respect that belt. Muhammad Ali threw his gold medal in the Kentucky River and said, I don't get any respect, although I'm the gold medalist Olympian. But when I win that heavyweight championship, and put that belt around my waist, I'm going to get all the respect in the world. This is why he's the greatest heavyweight ever lived.
So H Money. So basically, what you're saying is you don't feel that it's right that Tank and Ryan are not pushing towards a fight with Devin, being as though Devin is the undisputed champion in that weight division. Is that what you're saying?
It's something like that. It's just they asked Bernard Hopkins about Devin Haney fighting Ryan Garcia. They said Bernard Hopkins. They told Bernard Hopkins, Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion. What about a fight between Devin Haney and Ryan? And Bernard Hopkins said, the belts don't matter. We don't care if Devin Haney got the belts. Ryan is the one that's more popular. So it's like they trying to, since Devin got all the belts, these promoters, they trying to downplay Devin and say the belts don't matter. But when Canelo became undisputed, everybody was talking about it as if it was a big deal. But when Devin got it at 135, all of a sudden the belts don't matter because Ryan ain't got a belt and because Tank ain't got one of the top belts. That's why they saying that.
Well, I think part of it is the business overrides the belts too in this business. So if you got two young potential superstars that could potentially get together and make a mega fight, super fight, right, hundreds of millions of dollars, that's gonna always override a great fighter with belts. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now
they can make a lot of money with that.
But you talking about a lot of money, but does that money equal to what they think they could potentially do with these two ultra popular young superstars? That's what we got to be talking about here. So I don't know what the numbers would be, so I can't speak on that. But I know the powers that be have projections on what they think the numbers would be, and that's going to be the fight that they're going to get behind. Always.
Now, I would add this. You listen real close. You look real close. There's an undercurrent to all of that. Okay? Devin Haney may not be the one you want to fight. Okay?
Too.
And you got a mega fight coming up. You're not going to say that, but he may not be the one you actually want to fight. Okay? Because you may not make it to the big fight fooling around with Devin Haney.
Right.
So you're not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. Okay?
That's too much risk.
That's too much risk. I was talking to Kevin once about I think it was Wilder and was it Wilder and AJ, Anthony Joshua. I say they won't make it to the big fight because one of them going to get beat. Both of them probably going to get beat. And what happened? Both of them got beat before they faced each other. So they ain't too quick to jump in the ring with Devin Haney. Did you watch his last fight? Did you see all that skill and technique?
Yes, sir.
That's his man.
That's his man.
This is Devin Haney, #1 man. That's his hype man.
Yeah. Well, did you see? Well, you was there, huh?
No, I wasn't there. I watched it. I watched it on the TV though.
Yeah. This man slipping and sliding. This boy can fight. So
and he only 23 years old. So guess what? You finish my sentence for me. What are you gonna do? Get better, right? He only gonna get better.
He gonna get better.
Yeah.
Look what he did. Look.
And he ain't in no clubs drinking and kicking,
smoking,
partying, kicking, and ain't doing none of that.
He in the gym.
He may not be as naturally talented as some as a Shakur.
Yeah.
And he may not be have all the well-rounded gifts as a Tank. Tank got skill, technique, and that one hitter quitter.
Right, yeah.
But Devin is a talented young fighter that's super dedicated,
Yep.
lives clean, and live the boxing life and live the life of a fighter. And he wants to be great. He really, really wants to be great. And he dedicated enough to live the life that he needs to live to be great. And that's going to be hard. All of that's going to be hard to beat. That's going to be hard to beat.
Remember what I'm going to tell you. If he continue the way he's going and living the way he's living, he's going to be great. Ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah. Wow.
And you'll be surprised at the guys he's going to beat. Well, he wasn't supposed to beat him. Oh, yeah, he wasn't. But look what happened. So you got to, hey, I can't sleep on him.
So
Can't do it.
I would suggest to the Haneys, just keep taking care of your business. You the king of the division. You got all the hardware. You got all the straps.
Yeah.
Just keep taking care of your business. I wouldn't run behind nobody chasing none of these dudes that don't want to fight me no way. I just keep on taking care of business. Keep winning.
That's
keep,
right.
Keep cleaning house.
23 years old.
Whatever they put in front of you, take it out and look spectacular doing it, and you're going to force everybody's hand at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask y'all about one more fighter. What y'all think about Jerron Boots Ennis? How good is Boots? And do y'all see him taking over the welterweight division after Spencer Crawford?
Oh my God, for sure. Definitely. I forgot all about Boots when I was thinking about the young guys. Yeah, Boots Ennis, that's one of my favorites. He's got all the talent in the world, got power. I mean, skill, technique. His father's, they from Philly, a boxing town. Father's an old fight man. I mean, got everything working for him. He's got, good boxing people on his team. I mean, sky's the limit for him, and he definitely I think they gonna hand off the division to Boots. Boots. I don't think Earl and them talking about fighting no Boots. So I think they'll lead them belts after they take care of what they want to take care of. They'll lead them lead them belts for Boots to come get them, and they move on to something else.
Yes, sir. They can lead them belts for Boots, and we ain't dealing with that. We're moving on up. Yes, sir. Oh, it's great. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yo, Coach, would you consider Earl Spence a master boxer?
I consider Spence a power boxer. I consider Terrence Crawford a master boxer.
Okay.
I agree.
And what about Tank?
Tank has got more skill than what people think, man. And Tank is in his IQ. His IQ in the ring, Tank sees things before it happened. And he's got a great boxing IQ. He's got a high skill level. And then he's got that one hitter quitter thump to go along with all of that. That's a hell of a combination, man.
Absolutely. And he's southpaw.
Mm-hmm.
Which bringing trouble.
Yep, southpaw. But would you say he a master boxer with all the skills that he got? Like, is that a master boxer? What Tank is?
Yeah, he's a master boxer, but he's got some a real high level skill set in there, but he don't always use it. I've seen what he can go to if he need to use it, and a lot of people, I guess, in his fights, he haven't been pushed to that brink yet to where he's got to really use it. I mean, you've seen a little bit in his last fight to where he didn't go looking for the power. He set Rolly up to run into the power.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Hell yeah, Coach.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that boy Tank a problem though, man. That dude is for real.
Yeah,
but,
he
that
real
little,
problem.
that small. Yeah, that nigga, he's that small, that little fighting guy's way bigger than him, and he knocking him out. Like that dude Tank is a beast, though.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna deny it. That kid is special for sure.
Yeah.
You know what?
Hell yeah.
What I tell you what, you take a look at him real close. Okay, you say, well, what's his faults? They say, what do you see? The one thing I see is it's a lot of time when guys can punch, they have the tendency to say, well, I ain't gonna worry about training real hard. I ain't worried about all this because I'm gonna knock them out anyway. So they begin to slip. Okay, they begin to slip. Now I noticed Tank he's probably in 80% of the conditioning he should be in. I don't think he's 100% in shape. That's my personal belief. I don't think so. He's in shape enough to win, but I don't think he's 100% in shape. If he's 100% in shape, Lord have mercy. But you know, these are the things I see: breathing hard. We fought against him before with Gamboa, breathing hard and all this type of thing. So, like you said, dedication.
That's where discipline and dedication comes.
Sure,
man.
it is.
And you gotta sometimes you gotta put your foot down with these guys, man.
You can't be scared of them.
No, you can't be kissing these fighters' ass because you're not helping them.
You sure ain't.
All right, H Money, I got another call coming in, man. It was good talking to you, brother.
So, Coach, I just had to tap in. Hey, Coach, thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Call from
Right on.
Yeah.
Caller, you up?
What's going on?
Can you turn your phone down?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Or your TV or whatever it was, I could hear us in the background. What's up?
Oh
my
no,
man?
I got my other phone playing the podcast.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what that was. What's up, my man? Talk to me.
What's going on, man? We talked about a lot of stars and guys who have the potential to be big stars, but I want to talk about a dark horse star who I think can get y'all thoughts about it, and that's David Bennett, man. He has a lot of power, fast hands. He's fan friendly, so that's all I wanted to do is get y'all thoughts. I'm a big fan of Tank Davis. We pay homage to like guys like Shakur. So I just want to get your thoughts on David Benavidez.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, David Benavidez is one of those potential superstars that's coming down the pike. And I think he has everything it takes to be a star. He's got power. He's got good hand speed, good boxing ability. He's tall, rangy, and he's got it all. And he's great personality, you know, Hispanic, a Mexican fighter. I mean, he's got everything it takes to be a star in the game. And I think he's going to do just that. He just needs the opportunity. I can't wait to see
Absolutely.
it. I can't wait to see Benavidez fight Jamal Charlo or Caleb Plant. Those are the two fights that I like to see him in.
Okay. What about Canelo? What about David Benavidez versus Canelo?
Oh, for sure. But you got you know, I think he needs one or two of those fights first, and then that'll catapult him into a position to get a Canelo fight.
Okay, that makes sense. And also, man, like I said, I'm a big Tank Davis fan, and to me, one of Tank's best fights to this date has been the Cuellar fight. I think that's when you work with Tank.
Yeah,
you had him in great shape.
Yeah, that's when he was in camp with me. Yeah, for that fight. Yeah.
Yeah, he showed me a lot of different wrinkles that I really still haven't seen. That's no knock to his current coaches, but I really liked that performance.
Yeah, well, I worked with him in that camp. I worked basically on a lot of his skill sets and using his defense to set up his offense. Because I mean, we all know he got power, so I didn't waste a lot of time working on, you know, power shots. I worked on other aspects of his game. So
and I was just hoping, you know, that y'all get a chance to work with each other again. I know, I think it was this last fight, or one of the fights, or might have been the fight before, Coach Calvin and Coach Kenny
wasn't there for the majority of the camp, and he was working with the guys from Headbangers DC, Coach Barry Hunter. So I would have liked if you would have worked with him.
Yeah, well, hey, man, he got his team, you know. He came out to me, asked me to train him for that fight. We had a great camp. We won a world title, and hey, he's back with Calvin them. They doing their thing. I just want to see him be all he can be and be the greatest fighter he can be.
Okay, and then like AB coming back pretty soon. I think it's a good fight for him. AD says he has aspirations to be champion, and again, do you realistically think that Adrian Broner can be champion again and maybe the 140 division?
For sure. I think if he comes back and takes care of business like I know he gonna do against Omar Figueroa, which is a solid opponent, you know, because Omar Figueroa ain't coming to lay down. So he takes care of business, look good in that fight. He's back in position, and he's automatically the cash cow in the division if he takes care of business.
Right,
August the 20th.
Right. And the last thing, and I'm gonna let you go. A fight that was kind of talked about recently is Frank Martin versus Chris Colbert. We know Chris Colbert is coming off a loss. What do you see happening in that fight if that was to happen?
Oh, that fight would be interesting.
Chris Colbert would be moving up in weight.
Yeah. That fight would be interesting. It's, you know, I mean, they're talking about that fight, but you know, I don't know. I think Frank looks a little big for the weight division, and Lil B Hop will be moving up. So I mean, but if him and his team decide to take the fight, take the challenge, then hey, more power to him. I just hope that he comes out and he goes to camp and gets himself all the way right, like we know he can be, and you know, he could beat anybody if he's right.
Right. That's all I got, Coach. Thanks for your time. I'm enjoying the show. Keep up the great work, and I'm locked into this podcast.
All right, appreciate your call, my man.
All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Phone lines blowing up, man, but we got the, you know, we at the end of the show, bro.
We at the end of the show.
You know, we done made our run for the night. We enjoyed all the support, all the fans calling in.
Hope you get everybody some insight on how this thing really going down.
Yeah, we got to get up in the morning. The phone lines blowing up still. Callers calling in. You want to take one more?
Go ahead.
You want to take one more? Okay, we're going to take one more.
To press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
What's up, caller?
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
What's up, my man?
Man, I really appreciate y'all for and thankful for y'all taking one more caller. And yeah, for sure. I really admire your
because
work.
I ain't just your average YouTube podcaster, bro. I got to get up at 6 a.m. and put these fighters on the road.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I trust and believe I see it every morning on Instagram, Hammer and all the other guys you got, you know, putting in work. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask my question, man, because I know you got work to do.
Yeah.
But when you first, like, for example, you know, I'm always interested when I see you working with a new fighter that, you know, was trained before, you know, like Hammer, you know, was already fighting, and I see how you added to his game. Like, he's a way better boxer now. I feel like his IQ has enhanced as soon as he got with you. The same with Ammo. So when you work with a fighter, and even with Tank, when Tank got with you for the Cuellar fight, or that one fight with Cuellar, man, the way he worked his jab and went to the body, I was like, damn, Cunningham, you know what I'm saying? So my question for you is, like, what is it that, and I know every fighter is different, so give me an example, say for maybe with Hammer or Tank. What is it? What did you actually do to go ahead and enhance their game? You know what I mean? Different from what they was already doing.
Well, I mean, for Tank, I mean, I just explained to the last caller with Tank. I knew he was a big puncher. Everybody knew he was a big puncher, and he's got a puncher's mentality. But when he came to camp, he showed me. I watched him, and he showed me. I got a chance to see the skill set up close and personal. So what I wanted to do was work on elevating everything from a skill set standpoint. And we worked on basically, you know, a lot of head movement, a lot of angles, a lot of distance range, a lot of setting his opponents up and using his defense to set up his offense. Same thing with Hammer. Hammer. Everybody knows Hammer is aggressive. He's aggressive type of fighter. So at the elite level, being aggressive is fine, but it's about how you go get your opponent. You know, because if you want to go get him and get into a position to get him, but you got to be smart. You got to use smart aggression, and you got to be able to get in, get your shots off, and get out without getting got. So those were some of the things that I put heavy emphasis on with Hammer and helping him elevate his skill set, because he's got tremendous boxing ability, but he's in the past prior to me, he was so focused on just running across the ring and just putting hands on his opponent. He didn't focus on the skill set aspect of it all. So, you know, I put a lot of work in elevating my guy's skill set.
Yeah, for sure. Because one thing that I did notice with everybody you work with is the jab. You know, the jab. And Coach, I do study you, man. So I want to just give you let you know you're an honorable man. So I study, because I'm a boxing coach myself.
I appreciate that,
so
bro.
I love to study the greats.
Appreciate
yeah, bro, because you were great. You know what I mean? You were great in our time, and yeah, for sure. But my last thing I was going to ask you was about working with, because I say like you're a specialty with southpaw, but working with an orthodox fighter, is there any way that you work with an orthodox versus a southpaw? Like, is it a difference in how you dissect?
No. When I'm training a guy and I'm trying to help him take his skill set to another level, it doesn't matter whether he's right-handed or left-handed. It's teaching boxing skill and technique at the elite level. So, I mean, a lot of people like to call me a southpaw specialist, but that's not really. That doesn't really describe who I am as a trainer. It's just so happened I've had a lot of success with southpaws.
True. I believe, and I agree, based on how you enhance Broner, because we know Broner's a puncher and he's a good counter puncher as well. But his boxing ability, I feel like his IQ, he was using his brain a lot more. I just seen like a different type of, especially I believe that was the Vargas fight, even though they gave him a draw.
Right.
You know, he was trying some different things. He used the jab a lot more feints, and I could just see him thinking in a different way in the fight. And then my last question to you, with these three, Hammer, Corey, and Devin, what would you say was the most challenging part of enhancing? Let me not say Hammer, because I feel like Hammer, you still building him, you still growing him. But with Devin and Corey, what would you say was the hardest or the most challenging part of enhancing your game?
Well, with Devin, nothing really was challenging about Devin. He's always been first one in the gym, last one to leave, and he's always wanted to soak up the knowledge. So, I mean, nothing really was challenging. I mean, he wasn't the most talented guy that I had of my kids coming up back in the day. But it's almost like when I talk about Devin Haney. Devin Alexander was the most dedicated guy out of the crew. So he went almost the furthest because, you know, that dedication translates into success eventually, because the more dedicated you are, the more talented, and the more you're going to master your skill set, the more you work at it. The lifestyle and how you live. So it wasn't really a challenging thing with Devin. But
Okay.
now Corey, that's a different story. Corey was probably one of the most talented fighters I've ever had from a skill set standpoint. But you know, he for his discipline, he outside the ring, he liked to party and have a good time. So those were the challenging things dealing with Corey. But once you got him in camp and got him focused and got him in tip-top shape, he was a problem for anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. Well, Coach, man, I greatly appreciate this conversation, and I'm looking forward to more podcasts and looking forward to seeing your guys get in the ring.
All right, man. Appreciate your support and thanks for the call, man.
Yes, sir.
All
yes,
right.
sir. All right. Peace.
Stacy,
Yo.
we're gonna have to wrap this thing up, man.
Oh, this thing getting hot.
Yeah, it's getting hot. It's getting hot up in here, man. Look at these phone lines, man.
Yeah,
These-
it's getting
all
hot.
these calls I couldn't get to, man.
Boxing need this.
Yeah, man.
Boxing need this
And
insight.
right,
The people need it. The fans want it.
right,
Want to know what's going on.
right. And hey, man, appreciate it, man. I'll see you next week. My part, brother.